It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show, live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State, also live on YouTube and on Facebook, having the crucial conversations that Erie needs. And we're glad to have with us here, back here in studio, Brandon Mendoza. He is the CEO of the Erie Regional Chamber and Growth Partnership. Brandon, good to see you. Thank you so much for being a part of our conversation today. It's awesome.
Joel, good to see you. Shannon, good to see you as well. Thank you for having me on.
You got it here. But big doings with the annual meeting and the holiday celebration you had at the Warner. And talk about, from your perspective, what you wanted to communicate to the business community and the greater Erie community last week. Yeah.
So absolutely. So the big thing is that we are rolling out our Erie 300 strategy. So, we took a year. I was new as of January 3rd of last year, and we took about 9 to 10 months to really listen to our members, do some stakeholder engagements, do some panel discussions, as well as get some data. And we were able to put that plan together, the Erie 300 strategy. And last week was all about rolling it out and starting to materialize it, not just with our members, but with our partners and our civic and elected leaders that we work with.
Talk about the felt need. I mean, you really jumped on this. I mean, strategic planning often takes year, 2 years. I mean, you know this. Mm-hmm. This was your first priority, it sounds like.
Yeah, so I mean, we
I mean, other than hey, let me find out the lay of the land.
Yeah,
you were talking about how do we come up with a new strategic plan?
Yeah, honestly, it was a priority of our board.
Okay,
our board really wanted to really pivot the organization and really catch up to where the region was at, and most importantly, where business in Erie is at, and we're kind of at the dawn of a new era, particularly the AI era, and having a chamber that's not only there but able to help other businesses get there was a critical one in need of our board, and then also just responding to the actual needs of businesses in Erie, which are very unique. It's not just the networking events and those sort of things that businesses want and need. They need various support. They need advocacy. They need, they also need certain type of programming, not just happy hours, but programming that delivers value and education and also allows for networking.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you about that because did you find that it was difficult or hard to identify what the value proposition of the modern regional chamber should be? I mean, again, it's a 150-year-old organization. Yeah. At one point, it was assigned to be the one-stop shop of economic development, but which is a tough thing, honestly, because there's no, you don't have a massive budget to invest into land. I mean, that's something that the redevelopment authority does. I mean, that's mandated by the state, by the Commonwealth. I mean, and so it's like, what is the value proposition of the Erie Regional Chamber? Was that difficult or easy to identify?
I mean, honestly, I think the hardest part was actually reintroducing the region to what a chamber is. A chamber does not need to be the one-stop shop. A chamber needs to be a place where businesses gather to work on an actual agenda that they care about. And then rather than being the one-stop shop, we move that agenda forward that helps catalyze and create an atmosphere for further business investment and expansion.
Do you feel like it had to be flattened, that it was a peer-to-peer kind of thing? Hey, this is Erie's businesses saying, this is what we want to be?
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'll be honest, I think our board and our membership overall, they wanted They wanted some outside eyes on somebody, and I think this is why I was chosen. I've spent the past 16 years in trade associations, and I think they wanted some thoughts in terms of like, how do we be a top tier chamber of commerce in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania?
Yeah,
let's start there, and to do that. Even to your point about the one-stop shop, I'll tell you, any successful region in the Commonwealth, there is no one-stop shop.
Right. Yeah, you don't.
Whether
you go to Allegheny County, there's a constellation of people that have different things that they do.
Things that they do. You have the Allegheny Conference. You have RIDC. You have Allegheny County. You have private developers. You have there are projects that there are sizable projects in Allegheny County or in Philadelphia County that get going and get over the finish line with no support from the powers to be, or little, just tangential support. Then there are projects that take a lot of support, right? In Pittsburgh, obviously, you see something like the airport. That doesn't happen without many entities like the Allegheny Conference and the county executive and the mayor and entities being involved, and things like the Shell project, a $10 billion investment. That's going to take many folks versus a $300 million multifamily development or something like that. Like, some of that is more, that developer is going to move it. And I think we're reaching a place in Erie County where, from a chamber standpoint, we're being very strategic about the type of projects that we want to support. And also, I would say not just that we want to support, but there are many projects that all they need is our support. They need a letter of support. They need us to get behind them. Mm-hmm. They may need us at some point, and they'll come to us. And then there are projects that need more, more of our support. We're working right now, in partnership, with our airport, and the future of flight in Erie is a very big continued emphasis of the chamber, and something that you'll obviously see in the Erie 300 strategy.
Yeah, when you think about the Fly Erie Fund and just making sure that the tens of millions that have been invested with the runway and the airport come to fruition. Before we dive into the plan, I do want to make a mention too that there's the operational piece that you guys have to do, right? The idea of being a collective, being a membership organization. I'm sure that had to take some examination and structuring, right?
It's a big focus.
Yeah.
One of the big things that we wanted to do early on is make sure that we, as you talked about, identified our value propositions to our member. And one of the things we try to do, if you've noticed this year, is we added a number of free programming for members, not free to non-members. Matter of fact, we actually increased the price points for non-members to attend a lot of things because whether it be our knowledge breakfast, we added these speaker series this year, our knowledge breakfast, which I can tell you with the exception of one, everyone was a sellout.
Wow. Yeah.
We added that. So if you came to one knowledge breakfast, you came to the annual meeting, which was also free to members. And we have several other programs that we added as well this year. Our Spirit of Erie being one, which we had almost 600 people at the convention center. If you come to just 4 of the knowledge breakfasts, for the average member, you've actually recouped your costs.
Yeah.
So if you've come and you've learned about AI, or if you heard from the lieutenant governor, or you've had a conversation with the county executive candidates, all very important things that business owners need to be engaged in. So we've added that value back so that there's not a question of what the value of membership is. That is on top of the advocacy work that we're doing, whether it's the airport or business climate, and so forth. So, we've been working, the business support services that we offer. We help members navigate. You talked about that one-stop shop. One thing that we do is a lot of businesses come to us to find out where they need to go, what lenders they need to speak to. They're thinking about an expansion. Who do they talk to? Do they start? Do they start with the governor's office? Do they start with the mayor's office, the county's office? Who do they go to? Real estate needs and so forth.
Sure.
So we still provide a huge amount of just free member services to our members, and to be quite frank, we provide a lot of that to non-members as well. But our biggest focus early on was returning that value proposition for members, and then two, operationally making sure that we were putting out quality products from an event standpoint, marketing and PR standpoint. It's one of the things I think that we're not doing well enough with storytelling.
Okay. Talk about that.
So Joel, obviously, as you know, and just being, somebody who communicates for a living,
Right.
Storytelling is important. There are very good stories and very good things that happen that if the story doesn't get told right, it stops, it ends, it runs out of funding, and so forth. So one of the things, and I know we'll get into the Erie 300 strategy, but one of the key things I wanted to hone in on why it's called the Erie 300 strategy is because last year the chamber celebrated 150 years as a chamber. Our chamber is older than the U.S. Chamber. We're a founding member of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and one of the things I wanted to remind the community is that you don't make it to 150 years at any institution without doing an immense amount of good over that period. And like any organization, you're going to have ebb and flows.
Sure.
And ebb and flows in terms of leadership, quality, all that. It's like any institution, right? There's good presidents, bad presidents, there's good, and so forth, right? Any institution, there's always the ebb and flow, but you don't make it to 150 years without having an immense amount of good civic leaders and so forth. So we really wanted to plant the flag and start to talk about, well, what does it take for this chamber to be around for the next 150 years? And let's start building for that, because if anything, as we've seen in the past 25 years, the amount of change and pace of change is only increasing.
No doubt. Wow.
And AI is probably going to speed that up. So we need an organization that's here that has a 150-year track record, that can be here for the next 150 years to help solve whatever the future changes are and problems and so forth.
We're talking to Brandon Mendoza. He is the CEO of the Erie Regional Chamber and Growth Partnership. Quick break here. More after this. It's Talk Erie. Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. We're live here at our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State. And hope that you're with us here. So glad to be able to talk to Brendan Mendoza. He is the CEO, the president and CEO of the Erie Regional Chamber and Growth Partnership. And Brandon, we gotta get to this because there's how many different points are in Erie 300? There's a lot, right, in the Erie 300 strategy.
Yeah. So the main thing is it's 6 pillars.
6 pillars.
Yeah, it's 6 pillars. They are Erie's advocate. They are the catalyst, which is our economic development. There are. And I actually have a copy right in front of me.
Yeah.
There's the Erie brand and AI forward, and then our convener pillar or connector pillar, which is obviously all of our events and programming, and then the last pillar, pillar 6, is our Erie 300 plan. So it's called the Erie 300 strategy, and there's a plan within the strategy. The Erie 300 plan is really our long-term financial and sustainability plan.
Okay, and that's for the chamber itself,
For
right?
the chamber itself.
Your goal is to move this 150-year-old organization into the next 150 years by solidifying the chamber's value and setting a clear stake in the region. I think we talked about that pretty specifically there. And your vision to position Erie as a premier place to grow and thrive through bold advocacy, catalytic economic development, and strong partnerships. So you feel like those are kind of your where you're going to act. That's where you're going to have your influence.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the mission to accelerate business success and regional transformation by convening leaders, championing growth, and advancing Erie's competitive advantages. One of the things I wanted to ask you about, I have this crazy hobby. I love to read the old newspapers. And what you notice from, if you go back 50, 60 years in the Erie Times News, is that the chamber was very, I don't know if I want to call it political, but they opened their mouth when it came to like things going on in the community. So when they were building I-79 and deciding whether or not to put an interchange on West 38th Street, there was supposed to be an interchange there, according to PennDOT. The chamber weighed in on that. The chamber was chamber wasn't afraid to deal with controversial issues. I'm not saying that this current iteration of the chamber in the modern era is afraid, but it just doesn't seem like it has gone in the past too heavily into that kind of advocacy. Do you feel like there's a proper role for that? I mean, I think the airport might be a good example of that.
No, I mean, I'd say, I think what you see is that 9 out of 10, our advocacy is not played out in the public, right?
Okay.
So that is by design. Whether or not we're supporting things like, the plan at the zoo or supporting other partners and supporting particular projects, we try not to play it out in the public, particularly if there's something negative to say with elected official partner. But as I think you could probably tell from my track record, that's how we did it. That's how I did it in Pittsburgh as well, except for
kind of back channels.
Yeah, but if there was a big issue in my time in Pittsburgh, the outgoing mayor in Pittsburgh was doing was adding a zoning review fee that was up to 3% of project value, uncapped. So I'll give an example. When whenever the PNC Tower was done, this would have been $3 million plus. The zoning review fee comes at a time of kind of project kind of go no go decision time. So this is like pre-development budget. This is before you have financing, before you have other capital partners involved. This is like the developers play money to determine if they're going to go or no go, and they were going to add a 3% cap up front
to review the zone.
To review, uncapped up front. And we made a lot of noise to let them know when I was at NAOP that was a no-go for us, and we ended up negotiating a cap on that fee, and also limiting the type of projects that it was going to be on. So my philosophy is to play a lot of things out behind the scenes, particularly things that are non-deal breakers.
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
But those deal breakers and non-negotiable items, we'll hold our our powder dry until we have to do so. But what we're not going to do is just be the no chamber.
Right.
Don't do that. Don't do this. And this is something that I learned in my time at the LED conference and also my time at NAOP, which was, we're trying to be constructive. So
you're saying you want to build strong partnerships, right?
So what we want to do is, can we help you do it this way? Mm-hmm. Have you thought about this? Right? Yeah. Have you benchmarked against other places in other cities? So we're trying not to yell at our elected partners.
One last thing, and I got to go to break, but we will track and report progress on the strategy through the progress dashboard and actual metrics. And again, that accountability piece, having those accountable goals is so critical in pretty much any context, especially our context here in Erie. Mr. Mendoza is with us here from the Regional Chamber. Back after news on Talk Erie. Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. We are live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio here at 5th and State. And we're live on YouTube and Facebook. And we're talking to Brandon Mendoza. He is the president and CEO of the Erie Regional Chamber and Growth Partnership. And the topic of the day is the Erie 300 strategy. And Brandon, I want to jump in these pillars here because we've got about 20 minutes and we got 6 pillars that we want to knock down. So we get about 3-4 minutes each. Okay. Pillar number 1, Erie's advocate, and I jumped on this when I read it. Champion pro-business and pro-YIMBY policies that remove barriers to growth. Okay, so is this in direct response to lived experience, the yes in my backyard type of growth? Talk about it.
Yeah, so YIMBY, so yes in my backyard. I would say we've got a lot of NIMBYism in the Commonwealth and a lot of NIMBYism in the Southwest. To be fair, or excuse me, in the Northwest. To be fair to the Northwest, it's not unique. We had it in the Southwest. We had it. It's all over the Commonwealth. A lot of folks that want investment. It's just not by them. The problem is, if everybody doesn't want investment by them, then where are we putting the investment?
Right.
We that's great. We just don't want to buy us, right? Particularly when it comes to housing, mixed use developments, and industrial developments. They have to go somewhere, and we have to be welcoming of investment. And of course, we want it zoned right and coded right, and but a lot of that is let's do the zoning and coding work up front before the project is there, or in concert with, and make sure that it's not adding cost and making it hard to do. The other part of our Erie's Advocate work that is really that I think honestly probably can work with you on. You speak to you speak to a lot of these electeds as they come through every
month
4 years.
Well, yeah, it's true too. Yeah.
But we have this strategy called Embrace the Swing. And what that really is that Erie County is a swing county. I would say the swing county in the swing state. And we have to utilize that status more to drive further eyes and ears towards hearing what our needs are in this region. I'll give you a good example. The folks in Iowa and in New Hampshire have for a long time utilized their early
the primary status,
primary status to really drive political power far outside what they would have, but for. We have to do something very similar with, I would say we are the swing county in the swing state, and we're going to see the Republican nominees, the Democratic nominees, you're going to see not only those, but the folks start to build those connections to Erie in the primaries and so forth. We got to utilize that, right? The other thing is that folks that want to run for governor in the Commonwealth, obviously, will also be paying attention. And folks that want to run for Senate and any statewide office, they're going to be coming to Erie County, and we got to make sure that we're utilizing that and not just, not that we're just welcoming them and kind of annoyed that they ignore us for 3 years in between. We need to make sure that they're not ignoring us and that there is ROI for that.
We experienced it ourselves here. We, last year, what was it? The Irish National Network comes and did an hour-long interview with us. And they were so into that presidential campaign, and they hunkered down in Erie for over a week or more. It was unbelievable. I love that idea of embracing the swing, and maybe that might mean some additional investment from outside there. And so let me just really quickly. I got to see, I'm doing the page turns here. The year 3 metrics would be 2 to 3 policy victories a year, PAC donations, embracing the swing event next year, and also the creation of the missing middle housing white paper. We could do a whole show on that, Brandon. Missing middle housing. I think you've talked about that before. Like it's not just the low income, and it's not the super McMansions.
Yeah, and what we're looking at here, so missing middle has there's a traditional kind of acknowledgement of what it means, which is more of an architectural, like kind of think of townhomes, condos, kind of attached housing, if you will, where it's not single, but still ownership. Or have the ability for ownership. I like to add not only that, but missing middle income, whether it's attached or not. In that, to me, as a region, obviously there's a lot of focus, and I don't want to detract. There's a lot of focus on solving our affordable housing needs, and actually, one of our key partners, Infinite Erie, has taken a pretty strong leadership role in that space, and we're super supportive of their work to try to solve some of those. And there's also other great works like Mercy Center, and several other and others in the community. There's a number of good things going on with Eastside Renaissance and so forth. But there's a missing part of this, and not to make a pun, but middle income housing is so critical to long-term economic development and long-term population stabilization and growth. If somebody, say within that 50,000 to 150,000 or 200,000 range, if they feel like the housing is the way that they feel, is a big part of how they feel that they're living that American dream, and if we can make sure we're providing that access to quality middle income housing, as well as architectural, missing middle housing, they'll feel like they're living that dream right here in Erie.
100%. I'm going over to pillar 2 here, the catalyst, drive investment in Erie business, Erie real estate, and Erie infrastructure, strengthen Erie's connectivity to the world by securing existing air service, adding new air service, marketing the airport to reduce market leakage, and also supporting long-term infrastructure needs. This includes the CRIZ and so on, and supporting businesses seeking stability and expansion. You're focusing on Main Street Matters and GDP contribution from advanced manufacturing, Connect Erie Progress. What's your thoughts on the catalyst? Again, that catalytic work. And you're mentioning Ready to Work Erie. There's a workforce component.
There's a workforce component in there, yeah. So, I would say overall, this is the bulk of our economic development work. And the reason why we call it a catalyst is because we're not trying to boil the ocean and do everything. We're trying to pick several things of importance here. Obviously, we have our Fly Erie work and our Connect Erie work. But there are some other things like this Ready to Work Erie work, which is basically our manufacturers have come to us and have said the entry-level talent, they need more entry-level talent, and they're working their butts off to get it. This will be a partnership to try to help meet those needs. And then there's other stuff in here like the support of real estate. One of the things that we're looking at is partnering with private developers in the region and outside of the region to make sure that there is a pitch being had, there's a pitch being made, to folks to invest in this region from a market rate standpoint.
Yeah.
And obviously they may need some level of incentives and subsidy and all of that sort of thing, but we really want to make sure that market rate developers are getting a pitch as well. So this is kind of our economic development work, and like I said, the point really here, it's not to boil the ocean. It's not to be the one-stop shop for economic development, because I'll be quite honest, I have benchmarked lots of top tier regions. One of my mentors was the CEO of the Allegheny Conference. Another of my mentors was the CEO of the Downtown Austin Alliance in Austin, Texas. Another one is the CEO of the Greater Baltimore Committee, the Economic Development Arm in Baltimore. I've learned a lot, and one of the things I've learned is that any successful region, there's not one-stop shop. There's many players. Right. There's players focused on real estate, players focused on climate and business investment, and then there's players that are focused more on the programmatic and workforce related part of economic development. And we're kind of making sure that we're not trying to do everything, but the things that we are focusing on, we want to not only do well, but excel at them.
Let's go to pillar number 3, the Erie brand. Elevate Erie as a competitive and attraction region to live, work, and play. Embrace the lake, our competitive advantages, and the unique attributes that define Erie. I'm pretty sure that every strategic plan in the past 10 to 15 years has said, we are not, well, heck, I can go back to the Bosworth, which is 25 years ago. We are not, making the most of our bayfront. We're not making the most of our unique position. We don't get hurricanes. We don't get flooding. Mm-hmm. Think about these really high-end communities like a Seattle, mm-hmm. or a Western North Carolina. We don't have those vulnerabilities. Mm-hmm. God love them and hope they recover. Mm-hmm. But we are in such a great place geographically. We're such a great place, with what we've got available. Mm-hmm. But we need to promote it better.
We have to promote it better. And one distinction here I do want, because a number of people have asked me, like, well, isn't that Visit Erie's job? And I'm like, Visit Erie does an amazing job at building a tourism brand, and that's their focus. And I think they're one of the best. They've been one of the best visitors bureaus in the state. So this isn't that. This is overall, what is our brand to anybody thinking about Erie from a business investment standpoint, or to just a general awareness, right? One of the things.
And what is the brand to ourselves?
What's the brand to ourselves? Yeah, internally, yes. Actually, probably most importantly, because
think about it.
Because what we say to others, it that actually has we can be evangelists for the region if we wanted to, but what we say to others really ripples, right? So I'll just on this front. I'll tell you right now, we have so much to offer. The natural beauty of this place, and I just think, even just thinking about Presque Isle, and the views and the beauty and the beaches, but you think about taking that trip from the west end of our region, going all the way out to Girard, and driving through and then going all the way up into Northeast. The amount of beauty, the landscape, and everything else, it's picturesque. Yeah. And I think one of the things that happens when you live in a place, sometimes you forget, the beauty. And I'll be honest, I've had the ability to travel and move around from Cape Cod to New York to the Poconos to Pittsburgh, and a lot of times folks forget the beauty. So the brand is very important. It's very important for business investment.
We're halfway through here, but we're gonna finish this in the time that we have allotted for Brandon Mendoza. He's the CEO of the Erie Regional Chamber and Growth Partnership. Pillar 4, again, could do a whole show on this one. AI forward, strongly embrace AI in chamber operations, business acceleration, educational programming, membership support, and economic development. Partnered to develop an Erie AI collaborative focused on best practices and business investment outreach. I think that last sentence there is the kit and caboodle right there, of basically saying, folks, let's get together. How do we be, like you say, top tier approach to using AI to better our business outcomes.
So I'm gonna start on that point. One, I want to say the great thing is that we're not new to this. We talked about my team earlier. Jordan Fuller on my team, who runs our business accelerator. We have been funding AI companies through our business accelerator for a number of years. Actually, in 2025, we had a really big announcement in the Erie region. First Ascent Biomedical, which is an AI biomedical firm, setting up shop right across the way at IHAC, and also, at St. Vincent, and some of their other operations, I believe, as well, in the AHN North.
Okay.
And that firm and others in that AI space, we just did a new cohort of accelerator firms that are focused on insurance technology. This is a sponsorship, or this was sponsored by Erie Insurance and Value Momentum, this cohort this year. Every single one of them are AI companies. Some of them AI first, like really that's their tech, and then some, there's a big part of their, their future. The three that went through this, I would be surprised if any of them are not profit-generating companies within the next, 2 to 3 years. Wow. And then First Ascent Biomedical, they're a top-tier company. That's the idea of the accelerator. We're going to build tentacles to these firms that are going to start somewhere else, and then we're going to use that to capture investment back into the Erie region, Erie County, in the city. First Ascent Biomedical, that's what we're talking about, and we're seeing that. And the great thing is that they have such an an ability to grow in companies like that, in the three firms that went through the accelerator this year. So this isn't just something that we're just starting now, but
do you think that you're going to have to be an AI evangelist, to use your word, to bring along Erie industry to this moment?
Yes,
you're going to have. You're going to have to pull some people in.
I'll be quite honest.
Yeah.
In the next 5 years, you either will be a company that has embraced AI, or you might be a company that used to be.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of our role here, is to make sure our business understand. Of course, not every business needs to be an AI only business.
Right.
It's just a matter of whether it's in your operations, increasing your efficiencies and everything else, or if it's actually in your products and so forth. Whatever it is, we have to, one, learn enough to be able to pass information on, and then also know other partners like the Penn State Barons and the other university partners like Gannon and Mercyhurst and Edinburgh and so forth, and other institutions that can pass on that knowledge.
Let's go quickly to pillar number 5 here, and that is the connector. Become the region's top platform for business connections, relationship development, and professional growth. Again, that's where that value proposition of the chamber comes to bear there. And you want to see a 20% increase in attendance in 3 years, and proceeds and satisfaction with event you're really going to double down on your events. Yeah.
Here's the deal. You have to have a quality programming. Members want quality programming. It's not just a topic. It's when do you bring the topic up? Have 10 other organizations already done that topic? Is it at a time where, we had an AI in business knowledge breakfast in November, and it got some of the highest ratings of any event we've done all year, because you could tell all of these businesses were in the middle of their 2026 plans and operational plans, and they were asking these questions, and a lot of them, they got help answering them in this. So it's not just the topic, it's when. It's also making sure that we have a balance between providing member opportunities that are free. Knowledge breakfast free. Our annual meeting was free, so forth, and then also making sure that our top tier events like our Spirit of Erie and our golf outing and whatnot are not just events that they're events that you don't want to miss.
Right. There's an anticipation there. Final pillar, the Erie 300 plan. Again, this is how the capacity is built. Build a chamber capacity to serve Erie for generations. Celebrating the 150th anniversary last year. The plan will guide the next 150 years with a modern organizational structure, define the future of key partnerships. Again, this is the financial piece. This is the influence piece, and just the internal organization. The kind of a built to last moment for the chamber.
Built to last. So, when I came on in January, I'm a man of faith, even though an imperfect man of faith. I'll confess that. I prayed and I was like, all right, why am I here? What am I here for? And I was doing some like history lesson stuff at the library, and ran across some of the old board materials from the chamber and some other news clippings from the past from the chamber. And it really just dawned on me that, like, here's this 150-year-old organization that, really, took some shocks in the past number of years. I'll be transparent on that.
Right.
The organization took shocks. This Erie 300 plan, Pillar 6, is about planting the seeds for this organization to be around for the next 150 years. And there are some things that we're going to do there. We're going to raise funds for an endowment for the chamber, which, I'll be frank, I'll tell all of our folks that I'm going to be asking the money from that Brandon Mendoza, CEO of the Erie Chamber right now, really is not going to help me out in our budget.
Right, yeah.
But the CEO in 25 years,
yeah,
in 35 years,
right.
in 10 years. Which that could be me, but who knows?
Yeah.
That person, that's going to help them. We're going to also create a rainy day fund, and then there's some partnerships on here that are very important. I talked to you. We're entering an economic development partnership with Infinite Erie.
Yes.
Where we were hiring a joint hire to work on our work, and we have some other items on here as well, which we're working with our friends at Athena.
Okay.
And we've been the fiscal partner with Athena and kind of a behind the scenes partner for them for a very long time, but we're working with them to kind of over the next few years start to integrate Athena into the chamber, not to hurt what they're doing. Right. This will be kind of aligning with what they're doing and supporting them long term, and really making Athena part of the chamber. So there are some partnerships, but the biggest thing is at the end of the day, this is planting seeds so that this chamber can withstand the next pandemic, or the next economic recession, or the next generational shift in technology and so forth. There's so many changes that can come, and this Erie 300 plan is just to make sure that we as a community are investing in an entity that has been around to solve 150 years of problems, and that it's here for the next 150.
I got to leave it there. Brendan Mendoza, the president and CEO of the Regional Chamber. Merry Christmas, sir. More to come on Talk Erie.